Building a business can feel like a roller coaster.
Financial headaches, hiring drama, and marketing overwhelm are just a few things that make for a bumpy experience. But with the right people sitting next to you, you might actually enjoy the ride.
That's why we started Breaking Even Better, to demystify entrepreneurship so we can make the ups and downs a hell of a lot more fun.
Each week, we'll bring you the raw, real, and unfiltered insights from our own experiences and expertise. If you're ready for no BS, honest stories, and a lot of laughter, then buckle in and listen up.
And let's ride this roller coaster together.
Welcome back to Breaking Even Better, the podcast where we talk about the messy, the beautiful, the WT moments, and how to survive them. And I want to say welcome to the new listeners if you haven't listened to us before. I'm Brenda, your HR plug, because great hiring starts with the right connections. And I have Trish and Carolina with me.
Hey.
Hey, and I'm Carolina Ponte, your spreadsheet whisperer and crisis controller.
And I'm Trish Saman. I am your digital marketing decoder. Anything that's chaotic or confusing, I can help you sort it straight out and get you on the right path.
Today, we're diving into an episode we didn't know we needed until we did. What happens when your business partner is suddenly gone? Not just gone like breaking up, but gone. Our guest, Nicole Milone, our friend, Nicole Milone, she lived that nightmare and she is here to tell us all about it.
That's right.
Nicole is a badass entrepreneur who found herself grieving and Googling payroll in the same breath. She was thrust into the deep, and when her business partner passed away suddenly and had to learn everything on the fly. Nicole, welcome to Breaking Even Better. Let's dig in, rip off the Band-Aid. What happened?
I lost my partner. That's what happened. So my partner went on vacation every February to Mexico for 30 years. And everyone knew Debbie went to Mexico in February. So we always prepared for it. And I was texting her during her vacation that, hey, we need to work on our succession plan. And she was like, what are you talking about? We have the paperwork together. And I said, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it when you get home. And she sent me a picture from her balcony of this beautiful beach where she was. I said, please enjoy your vacation. We'll talk when you get home. Because we had a Monday morning meeting every Monday when she was in town. So I had already started a list because, we had the paperwork done, but I didn't know how to run the business. I knew how to be a financial advisor. She taught me that over the last 12 years. And so I was watching her dogs, as we always do. And one of her dogs ran away. And I had to go find the dog. And I was in frantic, like these were her babies. And we found the dog. And I texted her a picture of Princess in the car with my daughter and said, I have the dog. And at the very moment, I got a phone call from Marsha, our office manager.
It's okay.
Saying that she needed to talk to me right away because I was in the car. I almost wrecked the car with my daughter in it. And Debbie had collapsed and she had a heart attack and passed away in Mexico, packing to come home. So I found myself on a Friday freaking out. One, I'd lost my best friend, a mentor, and the owner of our practice, and didn't know what to do. It was payroll Friday. It was
wow.
And all I could think of was people are waiting for their paychecks. How do we make payroll? I didn't even know. Thank God. Jen, her niece, processed payroll. So I didn't have to worry about that. So then it was, what do we do? What do I do? I don't even know what to do. And went into like just reaction mode. Grieving wasn't even part of it at that point because I knew we had a large book of clients who were going to be relying upon what the hell just happened.
Wow.
And missing her, right? The grief of someone you trusted and someone you relied on. Our clients were long-term clients. We had very long relationships and I knew I'd have to deal with that too. So It was start prioritizing. Who do we contact? What do we do? And most importantly, how do I tell our broker dealer, like the person who managed this company is now no longer here. So the first call is to the attorney, right? I knew her estate attorney who would manage her estate to notify her. Her husband's in Mexico trying to deal with, in Mexico, you have to be cremated or buried within 24 to 48 hours of a death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So dealing with the family, trying to figure out what's going on there. How do we help manage all of that? Get money down there because that all costs money. Right. And they don't want credit cards. They want cash. The ambulance driver asked Dennis for cash.
Wow.
Her husband. And so, yeah, it's like processing all of that. And and on Monday morning, we've got a business to run. And guess what? You own that business now.
Right. It's interesting hearing you tell the story. Even at a portion of it, I could hear the tenor and pace of your voice pick up, like almost mimicking the panic you must have felt and paired with the grief. So I'm so sorry that happened to you, Nicole.
Yeah. It was a tragedy, to say the least. Yeah. But, you learn from tragedy too.
Sure. Wow. That's so challenging.
I was going to say, which I know you have mentioned it, that it's just, I would be in a panic too. Like, how do I keep this business going? What do I need to do? How did you come to terms with your portion of what you had to do to keep the business going?
I think I'm really good at compartmentalizing. There was an on and an off of when I'm at the office. It was, this is to do business. And except for when I would be talking to clients and then it was emotional. But I had to make her proud of me at the end of the day. She entrusted me with this. So my only option was to make her proud. And so I just took it one step at a time. It was notify the company, execute on the succession plan, so I could make all the choices and the decisions. And because I had that list prepared to talk to her that Monday morning, I literally looked at my husband and he's like, what is keeping you up at night? What are you afraid of? And I said, this list. These are all the things that I wanted her to start teaching me. And he said, we go hire professionals.
That's right.
You take care of the clients and let them know everything's going to be okay. And these people will help you run the business until we can figure out how to do it better than them.
That's right.
And that's what we did.
Yeah, definitely birthed by fire.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's proud of you.
Well, thank you.
I believe she is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you had to learn payroll on the go. You had to deal with grieving clients. You had to face all of the challenges. What kept you from saying, I'm done?
I don't know. It's funny. Jen asked me that the other day. She said, I can't believe what you went through. It wasn't an option.
Right.
It was never an option. I was supposed to take over this business. It just was supposed to be 10 years from now. She always wanted to work till she was 80. She kept telling me, you're not going to kick me out until I'm 80, at least. And I was like, I'm never going to kick you out. Like, that's not an option. This is your business. This is your baby. We've built this together now. But I will always need you, your advice. She started as my financial advisor. So she was my trusted advisor. So I don't know what gave me the drive, honestly. I still think about that. There was no other option. I had no other, this is what I was supposed to do. So I had to figure out how to do it. And I just was like, head down. That's it.
Don't look now, but you sound like an entrepreneur.
Well, hell, now I am.
Whether you want it or not, here we are.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Has running your business left you feeling exhausted, unmotivated, and completely disconnected from your why? If you're nodding your head, you might be experiencing burnout. And if you are, we have an amazing resource for you. Burned: How Business Owners Can Overcome Burnout and Fuel Success is your guide to regaining control and reigniting your passion. Our friend and fellow business owner Julie B. wrote this book after her own epic burnout. Burn bright, not out, because your business and your well-being deserve it. Grab your copy of Burn today at the link in our show notes and fuel your success.
And talking about being an entrepreneur, and because my daughter works with me and I'm trying to get her to be my succession plan, right? What documents or conversations do you need when you have partnerships?
Gosh, I'm doing a workshop on this right now. Coming up, I'm actually going to do it at about succession planning. So if you have a partnership, you have a partnership agreement.
Right.
Okay. So, but what you need in place is, and I will tell every business owner this with whoever they think their successor is, if they're building that up, is you want what I'm going to call a project plan. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. What are all the things that are necessary to run the business? And I don't mean get clients, take care and nurture the clients. I'm talking about the back office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The things that the managing partner does on a day-to-day basis that they don't even think about. It's their second nature.
Mm-hmm.
Checking how you got money in, making sure that you got all the commissions, whatever it is. What bills do you have to pay? How often do you analyze all those subscription services and make sure you're not paying for the BS that you don't need anymore? All of those types of things. Who are your vendors and why do you use them? There's just so many things that go into running a business that as a future successor, if we're not taught those things, we don't know them.
Right.
Right. I had signing signature on the bank accounts. We at least had done that. I'd never signed on to online banking before because I didn't need to. Right. So I was like, I don't even know how to write a check. Everything's done electronically nowadays. So I was like, where's the checkbook? They're like, checkbook? There's no such thing as a checkbook. And I'm like, okay, I'm not old school. Sorry. I mean, I don't have one personally anymore, but I thought the business did. So I was like, what if I have to pay someone something? Like I really did not know the day-to-day operations of the business itself, how to manage cash flow, how to look at, again, commissions is how we're paid. So how do you validate that you got all your revenue that you needed for the month or the quarter? Those were the things I wanted to talk with her about. So if you're thinking about building a succession plan, you need to start small because it could be overwhelming.
Right.
You could chase them away, right? Of all the responsibilities that they have to have.
Seriously.
So I would say start small, but you as an owner need to start with a project plan. Like here's the first year, here's the things to do, and then start to relinquish control of that. Delegate that to them so they can start to build the confidence and hold them accountable to the success of whatever that is. That's so important to have in place and then have it documented. Part of your SOPs, it should be documented so that if something happens to them, someone else can step in. So as you're building that up, you have that for your future successors if something should happen within your business.
Where have we heard that before? SOP?
I mean, she mentioned quite a few things. From breaking even analysis, she mentioned checking out all the vendors you're using, checking out all the subscriptions you have. So she's reminding you guys, listen to her.
Right.
She knows what she's talking about.
And so here you are, you've inherited, like you said, like you're like a baby business owner. You're a partner, but your partner was the one that was actually doing the business part of it. And then you're kind of thrust into the deep end of the pool, but you also have a team to lead. So what was or I'm sure there were several, but is there one that stands out as like a fake it till you make it moment? I need to lead this team. I need to do this, but I don't know what's next. Like, did you have any moments where you were like, I'm just going to have to do the best that I can right now in this moment? I mean, it sounds like the whole thing was probably there, but was there any one moment that stood out to you where I've got to make the call, even if I don't have all the information or the experience around it?
For sure. There's a million of those circumstances, one or another. Fake it till I make it became like one of my mantras for a year. I was like, or it was, I don't know what I'm doing, so let's just go on this journey together.
Right.
Because I'm not really a fake it till you make it kind of person. I'm upfront and in your face, and I just will be honest and tell you I need help. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but let's do this together. I would say being a leader and encouraging my employees for self-growth. I knew how to do that myself, but I didn't know how to do that with other people. And do that without an authoritarian voice, right?
Right.
And that's not who I am. Like that, I don't want to force you into anything. So emotional intelligence was something that I had to really learn. And I spent a good amount of coaching and time on learning how to build my emotional intelligence and understand more empathy for the business environment. I'm very empathetic as an individual to my friends. In work, I'm not. I have my personality is very direct. It's very like this is the environment I grew up in. And so I had to learn to exercise that muscle of listening and directing without directness, if that makes sense. Yeah. That was the hardest part, leading. That I was never taught to be. I was a natural leader, but a leader of myself in my own environment, not of people.
How interesting. A leader of myself, not of people. Because we often think that leadership is just leading others.
That's right.
But to put it into that perspective that you know how to lead yourself, I think it's part of like that self-drive and motivation
Self-awareness,
and self-awareness. But I also love that you touch on, you got coaching to be able to have that, emotional, what was the intelligence, the emotional intelligence to then be able to deal with all of these different challenges that come with leadership. What questions would you now ask, an attorney or an accountant now that you've gone through this, on the other side? What would you ask?
Am I prepared?
Oh, that's a good one.
In my industry, there is some insurance that we can buy in case, because the future of my family now is impacted. So we have an insurance plan in case something should happen to me immediately, where my business would be sold and my family would be the beneficiary. But am I prepared? And what does that future look like? And how do we make sure we're prepared from a legal perspective? That's my first question. And then from an accounting perspective is, how are we ensuring that we're profitable? And what changes do we need to make? And and that's, for me, those were not my skill sets. I enjoy, I get that stuff, and I love coaching other people around it, but doing it myself is not my jam. Okay, I'm aware enough to know that. So that's why I hired my husband to come in as a chief operating officer. And those are the things he enjoys: financials, building up people, leadership. He's led hundreds of teams, et cetera, throughout his career. So I found my joy is in clients and helping clients and making sure they're taken care of and doing the financial plan and building all of that and making sure their money's working for them. The back office of the business, that is not my jam. I do not. I hate it. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. So thank God I have an amazing husband who that is his jam.
Right.
And that's what makes us amazing partners, in the sense of we care about different things, and we say that. So we can walk into a room, he goes that way, I go that way, and he knows I'm going to know everybody in that room when we're done, and he's going to find the two people that he needed to talk to about something very specific and get the answers and be like, all right, I'm ready to rock and roll on this. And I'm like, well, see, that's why we're good, because I know everybody in this room except for those two people you talk to.
Right. I think that speaks to emotional intelligence too, is to know, what Shakespeare said, know thyself, right? So I feel like emotional intelligence doesn't just speak to leading yourself, but also knowing your limitations as a person, as a leader, and also knowing the strengths in people like your husband and other teammates, kind of pulling the strengths out of other people. That's emotional intelligence as well.
So, Nicole, what surprised you the most, good or bad, when you had to take full control, just being the boss?
The profit and loss statement.
Wow, yeah.
And that's my jam.
That is your jam, 100%. The how the business runs. I mean, as I said in the beginning, I didn't know. I teach clients every day how you bring in money and how you send it out. And how do you make different decisions with that? I did not know how the business brought in money and sent it out. Those are not things I was privy to. I had access to them, but again, that's not
back
my
office. It wasn't
that's not my jam in the
Right.
sense of I'm going to dig into these financials. No, I'm going to go find 5 more clients because that's what I like to do, right? So I would say the biggest surprise was how to truly operate a business from a financials perspective. That was the biggest aha shock. Oh God, we got to get down to business. Like this is what we need to do. And so that was my biggest shock and aha moment of taking over the business.
That's good.
So once you did that, did you find that there were any, talk about the technical component of like running a business or like stepping into, even though you were in the business already, stepping into the middle of it. Did you find that there were any tools that you used, any new things that you encountered or sought so that you could make the business more efficient for how you then chose to run the business? Like,
absolutely. Yeah. So when Doug came on board, it was finding a new CRM system, right? He was like, okay, this piece of junk.
And the pregnant pause.
Yes.
Piece
this
of junk.
POS that you use. He's like, he's a very numbers detailed orientated person. That's not the right word. Oriented person. He was like, I can't even pull numbers. Like, how many calls did you make? How many client meetings do you have a year? Like, and I was like, okay. So we initiated a new CRM system so that we could make our own reports and see what was going on. So from a profitability, like, what do we need to do? How many more meetings or less meetings do we need to have? So that was eye-opening. No one ever taught me to look at analytics that way, right? In a CRM, like this tells you where you're spending your time and money. Yeah. Again, I was just taught to be the doer. Go find more clients. That's your job, right? So a new CRM system was so important. And then we would always have these quarterly meetings where we would sit down and say, what do you like to do versus what you do? And all these things with Debbie. And it was supposed to be more of a future planning. What are we going to do the next quarter? Well, Doug brought in Rhythm Systems, which is a total planning process for holding each other accountable to what our top goals are. So now we do quarterly and annual planning, and we know there's no second, like I am a squirrel, like, let's do this. Oh, wait, this is going to make us some money. Let's do this. And so this keeps me accountable and our team accountable to when I say, well, let's go do this. And they're like, is that one of our top 3 priorities that we have? Because if it's not, the 3 things we all decided were the most important things we wanted to work on for the next 13 weeks, that goes on a list. And then we'll decide at the next quarterly planning if that's that important. And so it's really slowed us down also as me as an owner as well, to say things don't have to happen overnight. Things happen in a nice progression. And if you really think through it and prioritize what you're trying to do, you're going to have good outcomes. So those are the things that really the 2 that come to my mind right now.
Yeah, great examples.
So Nicole, we love to give our listeners takeaways. Okay. And what would you say to someone who hasn't done any planning because they're too busy?
Or they're scared of it. Which we kind of touched on.
Yes, absolutely. So what would be what would be 3 things that you would absolutely recommend our listeners to do as soon as possible?
Well, the first thing that I would do is I would say, make sure you have an insurance plan in place.
Yes.
Okay. A key man life insurance, I don't care what it is. There's lots of different opportunities, and you should be talking with your financial planner about what is available to you out there. If you're not here tomorrow, how does the business sustain? And if you haven't built up your next generation, money is needed one way or another with the future generation or for your family trying to grieve you and then figure out how to keep running the business. So some sort of insurance that injects cash into the business to keep it running. If you don't already have a succession plan in place. If you have a succession plan in place, you need to start with a list of what are the things that you do, no one else does. And how do you start to devise a plan to start teaching the next generation to do that? And it doesn't even need to be your successor, but someone within your company, right? If you can't come to work for a month, who's going to do that for you?
Right.
Right.
And make sure it gets done so your business can keep running. So training a second person in those things that are very specific to what you do within the business would be the second thing. And then the third thing, it's not even for the business, but it's for you and your family, is to have a financial plan in place. If you don't know where your money's going, how can you know where your business's money is going?
That's right.
Right? And then if you're no longer there, how does your family know what to do? So succession planning is so built into personal financial planning because it all is intertwined, and the future and success of your business is your wealth at the end of the day as a small business owner. So making sure that all of those things are looked at through a financial plan is so important. So, if you can't be there tomorrow, your family and your business will carry on. And that would be my third takeaway.
Amazing.
So insightful.
Amazing. And I would say, it's so true that your personal and your business is so intertwined. And oftentimes we think that, well, my business is over here and my family don't need to know anything about it or need to have any involvement. But at the end of the day, everything is important. You can't have one without the other. If you're an entrepreneur and this is the way you earn your living, truly, because your spouse may have another job or may not. But how do you make sure that these things are taken care of when something happens?
Right. You need some strategies for the business of life.
You do. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot today. I know a couple years ago, before I close out, we were planning to ride our motorcycles cross country with a group. So I went and got the life insurance. I got one for the business and one for the household. However, a couple years before that, my grandson was born. And for 9 months, my daughter did the payroll. And I knew she was not going to do it. She's like, oh, no, I can still do payroll. I'll be able to do it. And that first day holding him in her arms, she was like, no, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm like, what? So I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I did that same thing, Googling, how am I going to do this payroll? Because I never done it before because I hired, others to do it. So I remember that shock. I never let that happen again. But yeah, trying to plan, I do need to do better with my succession planning and teaching her the things that I do.
Right.
Because it's hard because like you said, it's secondhand to me. I go in, I do my part, and then I jump in and whatever else is going on. But I don't have anybody that can come in and do my part.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the problem.
And I think as rookie entrepreneurs, we kind of like the control. It's like we want to make sure that we're doing a good job and nobody's going to, and that's true. Nobody's going to love your business the way you do as a business owner. But if you really want to step out of owner operator and just into owner, which is really what the goal is as a business owner, it doesn't mean you stop doing what you're doing, but you really want to render yourself obsolete. It's really the goal. Yes, exactly. You want to render yourself obsolete. It's true. So, and having those things but there is an element of relinquishing control. But part of the way that you can assuage the fear that comes with relinquishing control is SOPs and documenting and having a succession plan that anybody can follow.
I'm going to share something. When you were going through your grieving process and we had our conversations, the first thing I did was called a estate planning attorney.
Oh.
I truly left dinner thinking, holy shit. And I felt this level of anxiety because I am a single person, the provider for my daughters and myself. And I really felt a level of anxiety after knowing what you had gone through. And I was like, I need to fix this.
Right.
So I contacted a good friend of ours who Sabrina Winters,
she
who
did ours
happens
too.
to be an amazing estate planning attorney. And I was like, I need all my ducks in a row,
Right.
like right away.
That's a shameless plug. Sabrina did not pay us to do this. Sabrina Winters, if you're listening, we love you. Yeah, we had a similar
Sabrina, I'm calling
situation
you too.
because she did ours. And what was funny is that at the time we started our business with our brother-in-law. And so we had children. He has a child now, but we started the business with the brother-in-law. So it was my husband and I. And then we had kids and we had the business. So like we left the business, the house, the kids. I'm like, I better sleep with one eye open because Billy's going to get all my stuff. So it's pretty funny. But I can understand, Caroline, like you said, like if you don't have that in place, and if anybody's listening and you don't have it in place, the anxiety you're feeling is appropriate. And you should go and make sure you have a succession plan because none of us are guaranteed tomorrow.
That's right. That's what I say every day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed.
This afternoon is not guaranteed.
That's right. And
Well, maybe
how
the
will you leave your
arepas.
family?
The arepas, okay.
that are coming up.
I would say after
So-
the arepas, I hope so.
Yes.
Nicole, thank you so much for being vulnerable and funny and
Definitely.
hilarious and real as we always are. The conversation was a masterclass to leadership preparedness and everything that comes along with that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How do people find you, Nicole?
Oh, well, you can find us on our website is solarisstrategicwealth.com. We're also on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn, and reach out to us. There's a contact us on the website. We'd love to hear from you and help you plan for that financial future and give you the confidence that what you're doing today will make you successful in the future.
Thank you.
Awesome.
you.
And if this hit home for any one of you, then share it with your business partner, your team, your lawyer, your therapist. Just
Yeah,
share
buddy.
it. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much again for being here with us, Nicole. And we'll see you next week for another raw, real conversation where we'll help you break even, but we'll also help you break even better. Thank you so much for listening to the Breaking Even Better podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. To connect with our podcast or any of us individually, make sure you head to the show notes for all the links you need. See you in the next episode.